Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you for your association. Hare Krishna and Hari Bol to Vishwanath Prabhu and Pavan Prabhuji for leading the chanting this morning. We'll continue with our prayers and then reading. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavranda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Anybody would like to sing our prayer today? Meenu Mataji, you want to give it a try?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I can read the translation, but I'm not good with that. Please, thank you.
Okay, sure, no problem. All right, so let's continue. Again, this is in conjunction with our third verse of Shikshashtakam. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amani namanadena kirtaniya sada harihi. Shri Krishna Sankita Nijadi Manas Tohar Parama Jatane Tahi Labho Adhikar Trinadhika Hina Dina Kinchana Char Apane Mano Bisada Chadi Ahankar Rakshasamakshamaguna Koro Visadhana Pratihimsa Tyaji Hanye Koro Vipalana Jivana Nirvaheyane Udvegana Dive Para Upakare Nija Sukha Pasaribe Hoile o sarva gune guni mahashoy Pratishtha chadi guru amani redoy Krishna adhisthana sarva jive jani sada Koro bi sammana sabe adare sarvada Dainya doya animana pratishtha varjana Chari gune guni hoy koro ho kirtana Bhakati vinoda kandi bole prabhu pai Hino adhikara kabe tibe he amai Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Shri Shikshashtakam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, Mataji, would you like to read the translation?
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you. If your mind is always absorbed in chanting the glories of Lord Krishna with great care, then by that process of Sri Krishna Kirtan, you will attain transcendental qualification. You should give up all false pride and always consider yourself to be worthless, destitute, lower, and more humble than a blade of grass. You should practice forgiveness like that of a tree and giving up violence toward other living beings. You should protect and maintain them. In the course of passing your life, you should never give anxiety to others, but rather do good to them while forgetting about your own happiness. When one has thus become a great soul possessing all good qualities, one should abandon all desires for fame and honor and make one's heart humble. Knowing that Lord Krishna resides within all living creatures, one should, with great respect, consistently show honor to all beings. By possessing these four qualities, humility, mercifulness, respect towards others, and the renunciation of desire for prestige, one becomes virtuous. In such a state, you may sing the glories of the Lord Supreme Lord. Weeping, Bhakti Vinod submits his prayer at the lotus feet of the Lord. O Lord, when will you give me the qualification for possessing attributes such as these? Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Any
So,
other references from Ramayana?
yes, Prabhuji. I am actually rereading Ramayana, so I'm at the part that during the Sita Swayambar, the Parshuramji has entered the scene. He has entered Janak Sabha, and he's furious. Like, who is this person? How can this person do this? And Sri Ramchandra very humbly goes to him and says, that I am a humble servant of you. Why don't you tell me? It doesn't matter who broke the thing, who broke the Pinaka bow. Shiva's Dhanush was known as Pinaka, and Vishnu's bow was Sharangi, I think. So he said, does not matter who broke. The fact is that it's broken and you are here. So, why don't you tell me whatever offense that person has committed? You can tell me and I'll take the whatever the punishment you desire upon him. And he's still furious. And, you know, Rama is the seventh incarnation, right? So he's himself Vishnu, but he's yet praying to Parshuram with all the humility and being a humble servant of Parshuram. And he keep addressing him as Vipra or Brahmana. And Parshuram keeps getting more upset that, I'm a Kshatriya. Why are you calling me these? So then Sri Ram makes a very humble statement that I am just your child. You are the elder. If I'm committing a mistake as an elder, please forgive me. So that brings his anger down a little bit. So is Sri Ram's humility is at par right now. And the other one, and the other side of this is when Hanuman goes to Lanka, and when they're trying to burn his tail, and they say, oh, just burn, how would we just burn the tail? We need the cloth. So they tie the so much cloth, they bring like yards and yards of cloth and they tie. They say, oh, cloth itself won't do it. Why don't we get some ghee? They bring whole bunch of ghee. And how do we light that? They need fire. So they bring fire, they light up the thing. So the lesson here to learn is Ravana was full of ahankara, full of ego, you know. So Hanuman goes and burns the Lanka. So whose cloth is used? Ravana's. Whose ghee is used? Ravana's. Who lit the fire? Ravana. Whose Lanka got burned? Ravana's. So it's not just the Lanka got burned, that whatever resources he used in full ego fell back upon him and burnt himself. So anytime we have ego or false pride and whatever we think, oh, I am this, if we are not humble, if we say, oh, I am this, we use cloth is used in a better purpose, it covers the bodies. The fire is used to cook food and do the yagyas. The ghee is used for purification of, it helps the body. So all these things are good things if used properly without ego, but if you use with ego, then it is definitely going to burn your lanka. So that's why humility is so important. Thank you, Prabhuji. That was my reflection from second verse. Always consider yourself to be worthless and destitute. That was for Rama. And then the four qualities, the humility is what Ravana didn't have. And he was not merciful. So thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Very nice. Thank you so much. Yes, whenever you speak about Ramayana, it always reminds. So it's the funny thing. I was smiling because when you were speaking, it reminded us just couple. I know Vishwanath Prabhu had to drop for his Bhagavatam class, but a couple of days ago when we were doing our Sanskrit verses with Amarendra Prabhu, we were supposed to do an assignment, and we were all the groups had to share. So all the kids were sharing first, like in our group, there are two girls, little kids. So they were sharing in other groups also. So you know, everybody was criticized. So there are three groups, and each group had to see references to Ram Leela and Gaura Leela in the verses, and another group had to see references between Krishna Leela and Ram Leela, like that. So anyway, so wherever the Ram Leela was there, everybody was talking about Ravan and how bad he is, and so as you were speaking, it just reminded me of that. So the verse that we had was basically talking about similar thing, which is like Sampurna Kumbho na karoti shabdam, which means Sampurna Kumbho na karoti shabdam ardho ghato koshamay upayati nunam vidvan kulino na karoti garvam gune vihina bahujalpayanti. So that means that Sampurna Kumbho, a full pot, never makes any sound, but ardho ghato, one which is empty, will make a lot of noise, right? And similarly, vidvan kulino na karoti garvam, those who are from a very cultured family with qualities and saintly qualities, they will never be proud or arrogant of their qualities. But on the other hand, the one who has no qualities, no saintly qualities, they will always boast about themselves. Right. So anyway, examples that were given were Ravan, and then Sampurna Kumbho Ram, because I specifically gave this particular example of Sri Ram, and this exact same incident that you just mentioned about how when Ramji breaks the bow, still, it's not like he's going around everywhere and saying that, you know who you are talking to, right? So, he broke the bow of Lord Shiva, but he never had any pride or arrogance in his behavior. So anyway, the kids were also sharing those examples, and then so it was nice, fun discussion, conversation, and same thing with Hanumanji, how he is also very humble, and the other verse there is that Upadesho hi murkhanam prakopayana shante. Basically, it means that we should never give any upadesh. हमको उपदेश नहीं देना चाहिए मूर्ख को, जो मूर्ख होते हैं. For those, we should not give any instructions, because that will only increase Prakopayana Shante, that will only increase their anger. And then the other part of that is the analogy is like just when you feed a snake, when you feed a snake milk, then it is of no use, because that milk is only going to increase the wish, poison.
The venom, yeah.
Yeah, so like that. So when you give instructions to a murkha, like Hanumanji went as a Duta, and he tried to instruct Ravan, but since he was a murkh, he couldn't understand, right? It only increased his venom. So anyway, yeah, we were just sharing these just a couple of days ago, so I was just remembering that as you were speaking.
So you just spoke about Ram breaking the Pinaka Dhanush. It just reminds me of another pastime that I've heard. Is Ram breaks the Dhanush in the middle when he's Pratyancha chadhane ke time. Dhanush breaks in the middle. So what does the middle refer to in our lives? How does that middle part relates to us? So there's a beginning, from one end to the other end. That is our life. In the beginning of our lives, when we are children, we have no ego, no false pride, no envy, no jealousy, no nothing. At the end of our lives, when we don't have all those things either. We are too old to consider any of this. We are just trying to survive. I see a lot of elderly that come to my work. Sometimes I feel really sorry. I mean, they have no false pride, no nothing. They're just trying to get through life. Our ego, our false pride is at peak in our middle of our life, from, let's say, from 20 to 50, 60, whatever. That's where the ego and the envy has to be broken. So that's why the Dhanush was broken in the middle. That, when you're at your peak, be very careful.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your wonderful reflections, and they are very, very pertinent and very, very instructive. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. All right, so let's continue with our reading of teachings from Lord Kapil Dev, chapter 16, which is talking about the pure devotees' spiritual opulences, and yesterday Prabhupada was talking about how these opulences, they're not like mystic yoga, where the mystic yogis can create something out of thin air. They can also create planets, but the opulences of devotees is such that they can actually create Vaikunthas. So Prabhupada was giving the example that in temples that are created by Vaishnavas, by pure devotees, are like Vaikunthas. So that's why all these temples that Srila Prabhupada has left behind for us, as well as all his disciples, that we have so many temples now, they are like Vaikunthas. So that is the spiritual opulence of pure devotees. Yes, okay, and that opulence never diminishes, like Prabhupada is saying. Krishna keeps on. That wonderful story that he shared of that little boy. I was also reflecting, remembering you yesterday as well. One of the devotees called and they wanted saffron from C1, the next shop, and they were telling that Meenu Mataji mentioned that there is saffron available in that shop and it's very nice. So I was remembering our Punya Gandho Prithiviyam, the fragrance of saffron yesterday with that pastime. And how Prabhupada was also saying one thing very nice, which I was reflecting on, from that story, that little boy who goes to forest and then he is so eager to see Krishna from his heart's desire, he starts crying. Krishna doesn't come, and then finally Krishna comes. Right? Prabhupada saying Krishna is so kind that he fulfills the desires of his devotees. So it also is very similar to our remembrance this week for the fragrance that Krishna is. So how Krishna is seated in Paramatma, Prabhupada is saying, right, in our hearts, and he is seated in all the hearts of all the living entities, and yet he is still the original, infallible one in the spiritual world. So even though he's seated as as he's seated as Paramatma, he can actually smell all our desires. He can smell the fragrance of our desires, right? So that's why we say, the only thing that we have is our desire, is our free will. What do we want? And Prabhupada so nicely with that story explains that little child, he was so eager to see Krishna. And when you have sincere eagerness to see Krishna, then Krishna reciprocates, right? And he comes. So our heart's desire is actually our fragrance. So if that is the fragrance that we have in our heart, then he is seated there and he's smelling those desires as fragrance. And he comes and he reciprocates with our desires. Okay, so let's continue. Text 39 and 40. Imam lokam tathaivamum atmanam ubhayayinam atmanam anuyecheha yerayah pashavo griha visrijya sarvananyamscha mam evam vishvato mukham bhajant yananyaya bhaktya tan mrityor atiparaye. Thus, the devotee who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, with unflinching devotional service, gives up all aspirations for promotion to heavenly planets or happiness in this world with wealth, children, cows, home, or anything in relationship with the body. I take him to the other side of birth and death. Unflinching devotional service, as described in these two verses, means engaging oneself in full Krishna consciousness or devotional service, accepting the Supreme Lord as all in all. Since the Supreme Lord is all-inclusive, if anyone worships him with unflinching faith, one has automatically achieved all other opulences and performed all other duties. The Lord promises herein that he takes his devotee to the other side of birth and death. Lord Chaitanya, therefore, recommended that one who aspires to go beyond birth and death should have no material possessions. This means that one should not try to be happy in this world or to be promoted to the heavenly world, nor should he strive for material wealth, children, houses, or cows. How liberation is imperceptibly achieved by a pure devotee and what the symptoms are have been explained. The situation with the conditioned soul is different, however. If he is in the mode of goodness, he may be preparing for promotion to the higher planets. If he is in the mode of passion, he will remain here in a society where activity is prominent. And if he is in the mode of ignorance, he may be degraded to animal life or a lower grade of human life. But for a devotee, there is no concern for this life or the next life, because in any life, he does not desire material elevation. He prays to the Lord, "My dear Lord, it does not matter where I am born, but let me be born even as an ant in the house of a devotee." A pure devotee does not pray to the Lord for liberation from this material bondage. Actually, the pure devotee never thinks that he is fit for liberation. Considering his past life and his mischievous activities, he thinks that he is fit to be sent to the lowest region of hell. If in this life I am trying to become a devotee, this does not mean that in my past lives I was 100% pious. That is not possible. A devotee therefore is always conscious of his real position. Only by his full surrender to the Lord, by the Lord's grace, are his sufferings mitigated. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, "Surrender unto me, and I will give you protection from all kinds of sinful reaction." That is his mercy. But this does not mean that one who has surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord has committed no misdeeds in his past life. A devotee always prays, "For my misdeeds, may I be born again and again, but my only prayer is that I may not forget your service." The devotee has such mental strength and he prays to the Lord, "May I be born again and again, but let me be born in the home of your pure devotee so that I may again get a chance to develop my spiritual life." A pure devotee is not anxious to elevate himself in his next birth. He has already given up that sort of hope. In any life in which one is born, as a householder or even as an animal, he must have some children, some resources, or some possessions. But a devotee is not anxious to possess anything. He is satisfied with whatever is obtainable by God's grace. He is not at all attached to improving his social status or the education of his children. He is not neglectful. He is dutiful. But he does not spend too much time on the improvement of temporary household or social life. He fully engages in the service of the Lord, and for other affairs he simply spares as much time as absolutely necessary. Yatharham upayun jataha. 1. Such a pure devotee does not care what is going to happen in the next life or in this life. He does not care even for a family, children, or society. He fully engages in the service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that without the knowledge of the devotee, the Lord arranges for his devotee to be immediately transferred to his transcendental abode just after leaving his body. After quitting his body, he does not go into the womb of another mother. The ordinary common living entity after death is transferred to the womb of another mother according to his karma or activities to take another type of body. But as far as the devotee is concerned, he is at once transferred to the spiritual world in the association of the Lord. That is the Lord's special mercy. Because he is all powerful, the Lord can do anything and everything. He can excuse all sinful reactions. He can immediately transfer a person to Vaikuntha Loka. That is the inconceivable power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is favorably disposed to the pure devotees. In these verses, Srila Kapil Dev is describing the devotee's acceptance of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the most dear to us. If we want to love Krishna as his son, Krishna is prepared to be our son. Arjuna accepted Krishna as his friend, and Krishna was his best friend. Everyone can accept Krishna in so many ways. We can love Krishna as Arjuna did, or as Mother Yashoda did. Similarly, Parikshit Maharaj simply heard about Krishna and developed love. The first-class yogi takes Krishna as everything. Priya, Suta, Sakha, Guru, everything. This is real bhakti. If we want a son, Krishna is prepared to be our son. If we want a lover, he is prepared to be our lover. If we want a friend, he is prepared to be our friend. Whatever relationship we want in the material world, we can have with Krishna. We all have some loving propensity, and Krishna is prepared to fulfill this propensity. Krishna is not a person like ourselves. We occupy one body, but Krishna is the owner of all the bodies. The body is a machine given by Krishna. In the material world, a father may give his son a car. Similarly, Krishna gives the living entities bodies, 8.4 million different types of bodies. The living entity gets into the body just as a person gets into a car, and he goes this way and that. We can drive this machine called the body for so many years, then it becomes old, and we have to change it for another machine. This is the process of birth and death. We drive one car for a while, and the car is finally broken, or it is smashed. We may have an accident or not, but eventually the car has to go to the junkyard. then we have to get another car. Actually, our position is that we never take birth and never die. But why have we been put into this position of accepting these machines? This is our real problem. What is the cause of this? We want to enjoy this material world with its wealth and possessions. As long as we are after material possessions, we cannot transcend the cycle of birth and death. However, we have to give up all this and take shelter of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and worship Him. Nor can we worship Him whimsically, but as He desires. If Krishna says, I want a glass of water, we must bring him water. We cannot say milk is better than water. I think I will bring him milk. This is not favorable service. Some so-called bhaktas say, I can worship the Lord in my own way. This is simply imagination. The Mayavadis say that Brahman has no roop, no form, and they suggest that we imagine some form. This is not the case with Krishna. Krishna is present in his original form, and he is described in Vedic literatures. We have recounted these descriptions before. If we want to attain a body like Brahma's, we can get it. If we want a body like a worm in the stool, we can get it. Or if we want a body like Krishna's, we can get that also. That is our real body of Satchit Ananda. We can also get a body like a demigod's and go to the heavenly planets. Or we can remain here in the middle planetary system. Our destination is our choice. We are given full freedom through our activities. By pious activities, we go to the heavenly planets, and by Krishna conscious activities, we go to Vaikuntha Loka. Okay, I think we'll pause here and we'll continue tomorrow. Okay, yes. Any thoughts, reflections come to your mind from that passage that we just read? Anybody wants to share anything? Yeah, Adi Guru Prabhu today. Sangeeta Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Yes.
मैं आपका जो लास्ट हुआ था, लास्ट लाइन आपने पढ़ा था वो तो इफ यू सरेंडर इन फ्रंट ऑफ द कृष्णा इवन इफ एनी नेगेटिव हैपन इन योर लाइफ then you keep silence and keep all these things that आप कृष्णा पर सब छोड़ दो तो automatically that your problem will be solved and that तुम्हें कुछ नहीं होगा, जो होगा उनको होगा। तो आपका कुछ नहीं होगा, आप टोटली प्रोटेक्ट हो जाओगे। अगर आप वायलेंट हो जाओगे, आप खुद को प्रोटेक्ट करने लगोगे ना, कुछ नहीं होगा। कृष्णा आपके साथ हमेशा है और वो आपको हमेशा प्रोटेक्ट करेगा। पर you have to be tolerant and the patience to the face all the situations. मुझे ऐसा लगा आज। वो हमारा साथ हमेशा है। हम समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं कि हम लोग खुद को प्रोटेक्शन करने लगते हैं। जो हमारा एंजाइटी हो जाता है, एग्रेशन हो जाता है, वो जेलसीनेस हो जाता है। कृष्णा ने उन्होंने बोला। और दूसरी बात इसने बोला दैट दूसरी बात मैंने ये देखा कि डोंट दैट द कंपेयर with anybody that उसके पास वो है and she has so many funds and that the richest persons of the good house and etc. Don't be materialistic in the life. इवन इफ आपका चिल्ड्रन के केस में भी आप डोंट बी मेटेरियलिस्टिक, सब कृष्णा पर छोड़ दो। वो खुद रास्ता दिखाएगा। उसको अपने आप को सरेंडर कर दोगे तो आपका बच्चे भी सही रास्ते में आ जाएंगे और उनको भी कुछ नहीं होगा और फैमिली को सबको प्रोटेक्ट मिल जाएगा। थैंक यू प्रभु जी। सॉरी प्रभु जी, मुझे ज्यादा एक्सप्लेन नहीं करना था।
No, thank you so much. Because when we speak, it comes from our heart, and what we speak we will remember, right? जो हम बोलते हैं वो हमेशा हमें याद रहेगा, भले और कुछ याद रहे या ना रहे. Right? So that is nice that you are sharing that. And yes, as Prabhupada was just saying that हम भगवान के साथ कोई भी रिश्ता स्थापित कर सकते हैं, राइट? तो इन केस अगर हम भगवान को अपने बच्चे के रूप में देखते हैं तो कृष्णा इज विलिंग टू बी आवर सन. इन दिस केस व्हाट यू जस्ट शेयर्ड इज लाइक यू मेक कृष्णा योर फ्रेंड, right? And if you have the friend who is the richest, who is the ultimate, the topmost, जैसे हम पहले भी एग्जांपल देते थे कि अगर नरेंद्र मोदी आपके फ्रेंड हैं, राइट? आई थिंक जेरी प्रभु बता रहे थे उस दिन क्लास में भी, राइट? सो नरेंद्र मोदी आपके फ्रेंड हैं, राइट? देन इफ यू हैव रिलेशनशिप विद नरेंद्र मोदी, देन व्हाट एल्स डू यू नीड? लाइक यू जस्ट मेक अ कॉल and he will make sure, if you are his best friend, he is your best friend, then he will arrange everything for you, right? So like तो materialistic example, लेकिन अगर भगवान आपके सखा हैं, then you just tell to Krishna and Krishna will arrange everything, right? So And the other thing that you mentioned, yes, we should have firm faith. फेथ डगमगाना नहीं चाहिए, वो श्रद्धा ही हमें आगे ले जाती है, right? इसलिए वो बोलते हैं कि उस दिन मैं बोलना चाह रहा था वो वाला श्लोक, लेकिन मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा था, उसके बाद मुझे याद आया कि श्रद्धावान जन है भक्ति अधिकारी। जो श्रद्धा है जिसके पास, वो भक्ति के अधिकारी हैं। और वो कैसे हैं कि कनिष्ठ, मध्यम और उत्तम, जो प्रभुपाद बता रहे थे कि 3 लेवल होते हैं, कनिष्ठ, मध्यम, उत्तम, श्रद्धा अनुसारी। तो श्रद्धावान जो है वो भक्ति के अधिकारी हैं। और आपका जो लेवल है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन योर फर्म फेथ, यू हैव अ वीक फेथ और फर्म फेथ, श्रद्धा कितनी है, तो वो श्रद्धा हमें गाढ़ करनी है। और वो कैसे गाढ़ होगी, वो भक्ति से होगी, वो शुद्ध भक्तों के संग से होगी, राइट, विद एसोसिएशन ऑफ प्योर डिवोटीज and following the different processes of devotion service as explained by Shri Rupa Goswami as per Prahlad Maharaj नवदा भक्ति के कोई भी लिम्ब से हमको हमारी भक्ति, हम हमारी श्रद्धा को हम गाढ़ कर सकते हैं। तो so that faith we should have, क्योंकि रिवर्सल्स आएंगे, there will be challenges. Yesterday I went to meet कल्याण प्रभु, उनके भी recently सर्जरी हुई थी इस वीक में। तो we were talking on the similar lines, like he was going through lot of pain, in the last 2-3 days. बिकॉज पहले जब डॉक्टर ने बोला था सर्जरी होगी, तो बहुत सिंपल वे में बताया था, माता जी बता रही थी कि एकदम कुछ नहीं है, हो जाएगा ये प्रोसीजर और एकदम इट विल बी डन। लेकिन वंस एक्चुअली वी गो थ्रू दैट, देन वी रियलाइज हाउ मच पेनफुल इट इज। सो but does that mean, so I mean the reason I'm sharing that is just like that. So I was like I also recently went to that surgery, right? So I was just joking with his son that so of course like Prabhupada bole the ki a devotee, we have all we are just trying to become a devotee. That's what we've been saying, right? We are devotees in training. So we have all done, at least I have done a lot of sins I know in this life itself, at least I don't remember my past life, but in this life हमने सबने कुछ ना कुछ गलतियाँ की हैं, right? And then what to think of previous lives, कितने जन्म लिए हैं. So for all those lives we have to suffer, but when we take shelter of the Lord minimizes that. तो वही हम चीज़ डिस्कस कर रहे थे कल्याण प्रभु के साथ में कि भले ही वो पेन इतना हो रहा है, लेकिन still as devotees we think that Krishna is minimizing that pain. हमको कितना ज़्यादा सफ़र करना चाहिए इस चीज़ के लिए, but we are just going through a little bit of pain because
Yes.
Krishna is orchestrating and he is managing everything, because we have made him as our friend and our ultimate shelter, so he takes care of all the karmas, right? तो वो श्रद्धा हमें अगर हमारी वीक होगी तो जब पेन आएगी, रिवर्सल आएंगे, तो हम उड़ जाएंगे, राइट? जैसे लाइक हवा के साथ में लाइक ब्लोन अवे बाय द विंड बोलते हैं वैसे, राइट? बट इफ आवर फेथ इज स्ट्रांग, हम चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, हम कृष्ण आपके चरणों को नहीं छोड़ेंगे, राइट? वी हैव टू होल्ड टाइटली। वो होल्ड करने की कैपेसिटी हमारे पास है और वो भक्ति से आती है। तो वी हैव टू होल्ड ऑन, राइट? जैसे वो एक स्टोरी है शिव जी की, मटेरियल पोजेशंस, वो जब पार्वती माता के साथ जाते हैं तो 2 इंसान के पास जाते हैं। एक तो बहुत रिच होता है, बहुत बहुत सारी गायें होती है, उसके बाद बहुत सारा फार्म होता है गांव में, और तो बहुत घमंडी हो जाता है। तो जब शिव जी भेष बदल के जाते हैं साधु के रूप में पार्वती के साथ में, तो वो बोलते हैं कि मुझे 1 लोटा दूध दोगे, मुझे पूजा करनी है। बोले क्या पूजा वूजा करनी है, और कुछ काम नहीं है तुमको, जाओ यहाँ से, कुछ नहीं मिलेगा। तो वो देखते हैं, फिर पार्वती मैया तो गुस्सा आता है, लेकिन शिव जी कंट्रोल करते हैं। फिर शिव जी फिर वहाँ से शिव जी उनको और आशीर्वाद देते हैं कि हे भगवान, इसके पास 100 गायें हैं, इसकी गायें 10 गुना और बढ़ जाएं, 1000 गायें हो जाएं, इसके पास इसका लैंड और बढ़ जाए, राइट? सो वैसा देते। तो पार्वती मैया पूछती है क्या दे रहे हो आप इसको, इसने आपका इतना अपमान किया और उसको आप और उसको इसकी संपत्ति बढ़ा रहे हो। बोले कोई बात नहीं। फिर आगे जाते हैं, फिर एक और छोटे से झोपड़ी में आते हैं जहाँ पे एक भक्त होता है, उसकी माँ होती है और उसके पास 1 गाय होती है, और उसको भी जब बोलते हैं कि मुझे 1 लोटा दूध चाहिए, तो उसके पास जितना दूध पूरा घड़ा होता है वो पूरा दे देता है, राइट? और बहुत उनका सम्मान करते हैं। ऐसे ब्राह्मण आते हैं शिव जी, तो उनका सम्मान करते हैं, उनको भोजन पवाते हैं। और फिर जब शिव जी वहाँ से जाने लगते हैं, तो वहाँ पे शिव जी भगवान को प्रे करते हैं कि भगवान इसकी माँ और इसकी मैया और इसकी गैया दोनों ले लो। तो इस पार्वती में एकदम शॉक हो जाती है कि जो आप क्या कह रहे हैं, वो जो आपको इतना अपमान कर रहा था, उसको तो आपने सब कुछ दे दिया, और ये जो आपको इतना सम्मान कर रहा है, आपको सब कुछ दिया, इसकी मैया और गैया दोनों का दे रहे बोले कि हाँ, क्योंकि इसके पास जो बचा है बस यही बचा है मेटेरियल पोजीशन, और जब ये चला जाएगा तो वो पूर्ण रूप से भगवान पर समर्पित हो जाएगा और भक्ति करेगा और इसी जन्म में भगवान को प्राप्ति कर लेगा, राइट। तो हम समझ नहीं पाते हैं कभी कभी कि भगवान की क्या लीला है, राइट। लेकिन या जैसे प्रभुपाद आज बता रहे थे कि द मटेरियल पोजीशंस विल बी टेकन अवे, right? But as a devotee, yes, we are dutiful. We don't neglect anything. We complete. We do our duties. Hmm.
और थैंक यू मीनू माता जी, आपने जो बोला कि रिलेट करके लाइफ को, जे मिडिल एज में ज्यादातर लोग इगोइस्टिक हो जाते हैं, फॉर दैट रीजन उनके लाइफ में डिस्टरबेंस आ जाता है। जब भी आप, मैं भी देख रही हूँ, वो जो जितने भी मिडिल एज लोग हैं, तो वो काफी इगो और एटीट्यूड उनमें ही रहता है, बच्चे लोग भी। तो
बच्चे लोग
that
का
will, yes, that will create that the problems in their life. So thank you Minu Mataji for the sharing
आपने
for
क्या
this.
बोला प्रभाकर प्रभु? सॉरी, यू सेड समथिंग।
नहीं, वो संगीता माता जी ने बोले ना कि मिडिल एज बच्चे लोग हैं, इसलिए मैं पूछा मिडिल एज का बच्चा।
Middle age means that in between that the 30 to 40 you think वो भी काफी बड़े नहीं है, बट उनके ही ईगो और एटीट्यूड ज्यादा रहता है उनमें। जब आप देखो कि उनको जब जॉब लग जाती है तो बच्चे हो जाते हैं, उनका बच्चे जो जब 4-5 साल का हो जाता है वो वगैरह, वो सेटल हो जाते हैं थोड़ा 40 में, तो उनमें ही ज्यादा आ जाता है, मतलब मेटेरियलिस्टिक दुनिया में वो ज्यादा घुस जाते हैं वो। मैं जब मैंने देखा हूँ, मैं नहीं बोलती हूँ मैं सही हूँ, पर जस्ट आई
दैट्स गुड।
ऑब्जर्व देयर। यस,
हरे कृष्ण माता जी।
थैंक यू।
भक्ति और माया,
हम्म
ये दोनों फीमेल हैं,
हम्म
ये दोनों फीमेल पोटेंसी है, भगवान की ही है।
अच्छा अच्छा।
और ये दोनों सगी बहनों की तरह हैं जो एक दूसरे को स्टैंड नहीं कर सकते।
सौतन जैसा हो जाते हैं।
हाँ, जहाँ भक्ति है वहां माया नहीं टिकेगी, जहाँ माया है वहां भक्ति नहीं टिकेगी,
हाँ।
लेकिन वैराग्य, ज्ञान, ये सब पुरुष है। वो अपना आराम से सीधे सीधे चलते रहते हैं। प्रॉब्लम
हाँ।
एंड में हम लेडीज पे ही आती है।
हम लेडीज ही प्रॉब्लम है।
हमें प्रॉब्लम है। रामायण क्यों? सीता की वजह से। महाभारत क्यों? द्रौपदी की
द्रौपदी की
वजह
वजह
से।
से।
तो अहंकार अहंकार तो नहीं, चलो ईगो को हम फीमेल बोलते हैं, या माया और वो दोनों फीमेल ही है। तो हमें हमें खुद को ही संभालना है, सुधारना है।
आप बहुत अच्छे तरह रिलेट कर लेते हो।
Very good. All right,
प्रभु
thank
जी,
you so much. Yes, प्रभु, yes,
मैं एक इंसिडेंट बताऊंगा आपको। एक
yes.
प्रैक्टिकल मेरे साथ हुआ है।
हम्म,
यानी भगवान कैसे आपका विल पावर टेस्ट करते हैं, ठीक है। जो
हम्म,
जगन्नाथ जी का देवस्थान पूर्णिमा होता है ना, तो उस दिन
हम्म,
वो नहाते हैं, ठीक है।
हम्म,
इसके बाद उनको बुखार आ जाता है, तो वो
हम्म,
सो जाते हैं। तो
हम्म,
नेक्स्ट 2 वीक्स तो वो दर्शन नहीं देते। देन
हम्म,
रथयात्रा के पहले एक दिन होता है नवजौवन दर्शन। तो उस समय क्या होता है, वो उनका यौवन फिर आप पोसा जाता है, फिर वो दर्शन देते हैं। तो उसी दिन क्या होता है, सुबह सुबह दर्शन दे देते हैं। और फिर वो रथ यात्रा में होता है ना, वो उसके प्रिपरेशन लग जाते हैं। तो मंदिर का पूरा जो भगवान आएंगे, तो पूरा का वो भारी करते हैं। तो भारी मतलब थोड़ा वो जो लकड़ी वगैरह देते हैं ना, वो रत्न सिंहासन जो बैठते हैं उससे नीचे आने के लिए ना, तो वो भारी बनाते हैं, तो दर्शन नहीं होता है। पूरा का पूरा दिन दर्शन नहीं होता। तो वो मुझे पता नहीं था। मैं उस टाइम में कॉलेज में पढ़ रहा था, तो हम लोग दर्शन करने के लिए गए थे। मुनि रथ यात्रा में बहुत भीड़ होता है, बहुत लोग आते हैं, दर्शन नहीं होगा, उससे पहले मैं दर्शन कर लूंगा। तो मैं मेरे दोस्त के साथ आया था, गया था वहां पे दर्शन करने के लिए। तो सुबह हम 10 बजे पहुंच गए, लेकिन सुबह 8 बजे बंद हो जाता है, दर्शन नहीं होता। तो पंडा लोग जो है पूजा करते हैं भगवान को, बोले कि आज दर्शन नहीं होगा, आप लोग निकल जाओ। तो मेरे दोस्त लोग चले गए, लेकिन मैंने कहा कि मैं आया तो दर्शन करके ही जाऊंगा, जो भी हो देखा जाए। तो सुबह 10 से ऐसे बैठा हूँ। तो सब लोग चले गए, मेरे दोस्त लोग, जो बहुत लोग भी चले गए, मंदिर पूरा खाली खाली था, क्योंकि पूरा प्रिपरेशन होता है, उसको अंदर कोई घुसने नहीं देती। तो अचानक क्या हुआ, मैंने भगवान को बोले, प्रभु मैं आया हूँ, दर्शन नहीं मिलेगा क्या? तो ऐसा बैठा हूँ, तो पंडा जी बोला कि 10 मिनट के लिए खुला है, जा दर्शन कर ले। तो मुझे आकर पर्टिकुलर बोल रहे थे, तो मैं अंदर गया, तो काफी लोग थे, मतलब 10-15 लोग थे, ज्यादा लोग भी नहीं थे। तो बहुत अच्छी तरह दर्शन हुआ, पूरा का जो पेंडल बना हुआ उसमें भगवान बैठे थे, ऐसे हंस रहे हैं, कल मेरा रथ है। तो मैं दर्शन किया, फिर आप दर्शन आ गया। तो आखिर फिर मेरे दोस्त लोग, आई बैक टू भुवनेश्वर, तो मेरे दोस्त लोग के दर्शन हुआ, बोले हाँ दर्शन हुआ। तो कब हुआ? मुझे वो 5 बजे के बाद हुआ। तो इसके बाद बंद हो गया, और इसके बाद जो लोग आए वो दर्शन नहीं कर पाए। तो वही आपका जो विलिंग पावर है, भगवान देखते हैं हाउ आर विलिंग। तो अगर आप चाहते हैं कि सिद्धार्थ जी ये मुझे चाहिए, तो आपको मिल जाएगा, लेकिन आपका कॉन्फिडेंस होना चाहिए भगवान।
थैंक यू सो मच। आपकी हमेशा बहुत अच्छे रिफ्लेक्शंस होते हैं, यू शेयर योर रियल लाइफ इंसिडेंट, दैट इज वेरी नाइस। यस, मुझे वो बच्चे का स्टोरी याद आ गया फिर से, जो हमने कल पढ़ा था, प्रभुपाद बता रहे, राइट? वो भगवान को बुला रहा है, भगवान नहीं आ रहे, फाइनली बैठ के रोने लग जाता है, ये नहीं आ रहे हो भगवान, तो फिर भगवान आ जाते हैं, राइट? तो ऐसे ही, यस, सो दैट इज आवर श्रद्धा, हाउ मच श्रद्धा वी हैव, हाउ मच ईगरनेस वी हैव, आर वी एबल टू क्राई फॉर कृष्णा? तो आपके केस में आपने रियल लाइफ में स्टोरी शेयर कर दी, ऐसा ऐसा ये कोई स्टोरी प्रभुपाद बता रहे हैं जो स्टोरी नहीं है, तो आपकी स्टोरी थी शायद। थैंक यू सो मच।
ठीक।
हरे कृष्णा। थैंक यू प्रभु का प्रभु। ओके, एनी अदर थॉट्स, कमेंट्स? आदि गुरु प्रभु, चिराई प्रभु, कुछ बोलेंगे?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु, हरे कृष्णा एवरीवन। इतना अच्छा लग रहा है सबके रिफ्लेक्शन सुन के। संगीता माता जी एंड प्रभाकर प्रभु एंड मीनू दीदी, थैंक यू फॉर शेयरिंग. It is very, very wonderful to hear. I am blessed today that I got the company and to hear everything. Thank you so much.
We are blessed
प्रभु
to
जी,
have
हरे
your
कृष्ण।
company. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
All right,
Krishna.
dear devotees, we'll meet you all this evening in the center, hopefully. So we'll end here with Vaishnava prayers. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णवंदि की जय। जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। टीचिंग्स ऑफ लॉर्ड कपिल देव की जय।
हरि हरि बोल।
निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि
हरि
बोल।
हरि
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Have
हरे
a great
कृष्ण
हरे
day.
कृष्णा
everybody.
एवरीबॉडी। कृष्ण प्रभु जी, थैंक यू।